And again, when you look at the investment of Kerala Travancore Kingdom, you can see that the Wellington Island, before we start thinking of public-private participation, the Travancore kings thought about private participation. They invested around 17 lakh worth rupees to develop the Wellington Island. It was a tripartite program. 12 lakh worth rupees by the Tirukochi, that is the Cochin Kingdom, and the rest 20 lakh by the British empires. That investment brought us around 5 crore worth income during the third year of their investment. And you know what is the current turnover of Cochin Port Trust? Current turnover is 13,000 crores. So a very wise investment they have made. 1947, we are at the negative growth. We are at the negative growth simply because we have been looted. We have been looted by the Britishers. 2 great wars were fought by Britishers with our money, with our people. The resource, human resource, as well as the financial resource. It happened that even the railway lines have been dismantled and made it into bullets. There was rail tracks there in Kanandevan. Those days it is Finlays. It was there and it has been dismantled. So so much of developmental activities were done in this country. Yesterday, Dr. Thomas Han was talking about the rate of happiness of a country decides the growth of the welfare of a nation. If it is so, we people were happy. We people were so happy during 16th, 17th century. From then onwards, it has come down. But in spite of all the negative odds, our kings, precisely, let me say, Rani Sethu Bai, started the first medical department of the state. The first medical department of the state has been started in 1932 by Rani Lakshmi Bai. The Women's College has been started. You may ask me why in economics, how can you correlate these economics and these development activities? That is why I said the happiness of the nation. 1933, we had the PSC, the Public Service Commission in this country. Education was there. And so many people used to boast, the Englishers used to boast that just because of the English education, we have been, English education London City, London Mayor spend the total education, London City school ഒരു മാസം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത അവരുടെ ഒരു മാസത്തെ ബഡ്ജറ്റ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് കേരളത്തില് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്തത്. ജസ്റ്റ് ഇമാജിൻ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഒരു മാസത്തെ ഒരു സിറ്റിയിലെ ലണ്ടൻ എന്ന് the so-called British Empire where the sun never set spend just the monthly budget of this London city to develop the education system in this country. But before that, we had all these things. We had Banaras University. We had all these things. We had, even we used to lend money to the East India Company. I go back to 1855. Wajid Ali Khan, the Nawab of Najat, 26,000 പവനാണ് ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് എംപയേഴ്സിന് കടമായിട്ട് കൊടുത്തത്. 26,000 കുതിരപ്പവൻ. 26,000 sovereign has been lent out to the Britishers in 1855. നമ്മൾക്ക്, if we are so poor, where we had the money to lend? We never had. What was the result of that lending? After the mutiny, Sepoy mutiny of 1856, Najat Ali Khan has been dethroned. അങ്ങനെ സിംഹാസന ഭ്രഷ്ടനാക്കിയിട്ട് ആ രാജ്യം ഏറ്റെടുക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. ആ രാജ്യം ഏറ്റെടുത്തപ്പോൾ കൊടുക്കേണ്ട പൈസ തിരിച്ചു കൊടുക്കണ്ടല്ലോ. 26,000 കുതിരപ്പവൻ തിരിച്ചു കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വന്നില്ല. Where So that is one example. I just quoting an example why we become poor. And ഈ പൈസ തിരിച്ചു വാങ്ങാനായിട്ട് you want to recollect the money from the British empires. So the Queen Najat Ali Khan's amma 200 പേരുടെ വലിയൊരു സംഘം with a convoy of 200 people traveled on a ship and reached London. And she waited 3 months for a discussion. She waited 3 months for an appointment with Queen Victoria. And at the end, when she got the appointment, she talked about the climate conditions of India. That's all. ഹൃദയഭേദകമായ ഒരു അവസ്ഥ. ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഏതെങ്കിലും രാജകുമാരിമാര് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ രാജ്ഞിമാര് ഇംഗ്ലണ്ടില് ശവം അടക്കപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ശവകുടീരം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് ഈ രാജ്ഞിയുടേതാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു വന്നത് നമുക്കൊരു we had a very good tradition. We were so rich. We were so rich. I'll just say one more example and move to the post-independence day. Well, the other example is that Robert Clive, he was the viceroy of our country. He was an ordinary army man, an ordinary soldier on British army. He was been sent on exile to India. He made all big caucus. He made the groups. Finally, he became the chief of army, and then he became the viceroy of British India. You know the kind of the money he looted from our country. It is around 1,000 million pounds. 1,000 million pounds by one single army person, one single viceroy of the British has looted this country. So we become poor. 1947, when they left this country, our GDP rate was minus 3052. Minus 3052. From where? From 22% of the 1/3 of the world GDP, which we were sharing, has come down to minus 3%. By the time they left, we have just a waste of land, waste of human resource, waste of everything. We never had anything. From there, proudly we can say we made everything. We made everything from there. And even then, we made everything. We started, when you look at the industry, the first industry started in 1877 by Jamshedji Tata. In 1877 in Jamshedpur, an old started an spinning industry, a cotton industry with an old imported machinery. Till then, there was no industry in the country. And even though the industrial revolution was there, industry was not there in the country. And as Shashi Tharoor quoted, just because the Britishers were on the driving seat of the industrial revolution, the bus reached so late to India. 1947 onwards, we have seen so many things. We have seen the uprise of a downtrodden people. അടിച്ചമർത്തപ്പെട്ട ഒരു രാജ്യത്തിന്റെ ഉയർത്തെഴുന്നേൽപ്പ് അവിടെ തൊട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ തുടങ്ങി. 1947. You know, the first budget presented in the Union Assembly was for 548 crore. Just for 548 crore. That was the budget. It was only for 9 months. And out of the 548 crore, we spend 19 crore only for the Indian Army. 19 for the Indian Army, and around 26 crore for agriculture, and the rest for the infrastructural development. And later, once we introduced The 5-year plan in 1951 was we have been more focused. We have been more focused. The 5-year plan brought in more money, focused. We focused on in the development of agriculture sector, because we were suffering a lot because of irrigation, climatic conditions. കാലാവസ്ഥ കണ്ടും നമ്മൾ വളരെയധികം സെറ്റ് ബാക്കുകൾ നമ്മളുടെ ചരിത്രത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. കാലാവസ്ഥ മാത്രം, അതുകൊണ്ട് മാത്രം പകലന്തിയോളം പണിയെടുക്കുകയും ഒന്നുമില്ലാതെ ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലേക്ക്, just because of the climate we have been shunted back. That is what actually happened. 1953 again we faced the largest famine ever we faced in Indian history. 1953 ഇന്ത്യ കണ്ട ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഫാമിൻ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. അതിന് കാരണം ഇക്കണോമിക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ കണ്ടീഷൻസ് ഒന്നും തന്നെയല്ല. It is because those days we were depending upon the climate, the rain for the irrigation. So our rulers then decided we need more dams. We need to concentrate more on fertilizer companies. We need to concentrate more on the connectivity. The reason for 1953 famine was low connectivity. The transportation was not there. As of now, what is the length or what is the area of roads we have? We do have 88,58,953 kilometers of roads we have as of now, as of 2017, because it is because of the planning from the first 5-year plans. It started like that. And again, we were the people. I still recall the address of our former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru on the eve of independence. India is entering into a tryst with the destiny. വിധിയുമായിട്ടൊരു കരാറിൽ നമ്മൾ ഏർപ്പെടുകയായിരുന്നു. It was a tryst with the destiny. And the destiny waited for is that for us is that we trusted our neighbors. And again, when we talk about the history, pre-independence days, we have so many wars. The 90th day of Indian independence, we had the first war with Pakistan to liberate Kashmir. Up to November 1947, Kashmir was not the part of our union. On a request, after entering and treaty with our Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Iron Man of India, then we sent the troops to Kashmir. That is the first war. Then again in 1949 we had a war with the Dutch. With the Portuguese. Then in 1962 with China. 1965 with Pakistan. Again 1971 with Pakistan. Again in 1990s with Pakistan. So many wars we have faced. All these wars will pull you back, your economy, the GDP back. Still, our rulers are so focused. The negative part of Indian policies were, we had the negative part that pulled down the Indian economy is just because of the license Raj. Because of the socialist people of the Congress, they were so, the then ruling party, they were so adamant that, especially Morarji Desh, I don't want to say any name, I don't want to talk any controversies, I want to land up in any controversies. So the then Prime Minister, then Finance Minister said, no industry will function in this country without the license. For each and everything will have a license. You have to pay excise duties. Excise duties you have to pay. That was the biggest problem we faced, or that is the biggest negative factor which hold us back from the growth, from the industrial growth. Of course, we were focusing very well on very well on to develop our infrastructure as well as our agricultural field. As of now, 2019 statistics says 42%, 42.39% of our manpower is entrusted with agriculture. So what is the revenue? What is the budget allocated for the agriculture? In 1963 onwards, 664, I think, when Lal Bahadur Shastri came in as the Prime Minister, we had a slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. That slogan shows the white revolution. That's shown the development in agriculture, straight development in agriculture. We have stopped receiving support from the America. I still remember during my school days, we used to have American, the Yankees used to send to us, because we poor people, the underdeveloped country, the people who doesn't have even anything to wear, near enough to wear, people who doesn't have a square meal, the people who doesn't know how to dream. That is what the Americans thought, and they were extending their support by means of food grains. From there, we have taken a very strong decision by Lal Bahadur Shastri, along with Mr. Varghese Kurian, the Amul person, the dairy man. We stopped importing or receiving free charity from anywhere in the world. We stopped. That showed the uprise of the Indian agriculture sector. Currently, we do have a buffer stock of 250 million metric tons of grains with us in our country. Currently, 250 million metric tons of food grains with India. We have reached that level. It is just because of the perseverance and persistence of the policies taken by the then government. And India also have become the largest milk producing countries in the world. 1/3 of the total world requirement of milk is produced in this country. I recall Dr. Thomas Sand was telling us today, we have to look at the food and health. I must be sorry to say that our health department, health sector is still need to develop. We do have so many IIMs, we do have so many hospitals, but we do have hundreds and hundreds of villages without public health center. There are some points where we have to concentrate. Again, I am coming back to the industry. And industry, again, we still, industry, again, the license Raj was being withdrawn only after 1987 or 1991, after Narasimha Rao has become the Prime Minister. From there, the liberalization started. With that, it has been liberalized. We also accepted the globalization. And before that, there were some turning points were there. And before I go into that, I just want to throw some lights about the revenue expenditure of our country. The salary and pension expenditure of our country. You'll be interested to know that. Government sector. Government sector, the salary we are spending is 73,845 crore for the government sector. Almost 70,000 crore as pension. That is Around 60% of the revenue is spent on salary. Don't you think that we have to make some changes somewhere? Some priorities need to be set. എവിടെയെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ഒരു priority നമുക്ക് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നില്ലേ? We have an army budget of 1 lakh, last year's budget, 1,44,000 crore worth of money is spent for the defense ministry or for the defense. From 19 crore, it has grown to 1,44,000 crore. That's on the defense, for the defense. And when you closely look and analyze it, you can see that 80% of that budget is spent on the salary of the defense personnel. Definitely, they have to be looked after pretty well. There's no doubt about it. They have to. Again, coming back to the industrial sector. The industry has been liberated. We have been taken some very strong policies. The privy purse, which has been given to the former kings and princes, has been withdrawn in 1966 by the then Prime Minister, 67, by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Then all the banks have been taken over by the government. It has been taken over by the government. That's one of the revolutionary changes we made during those days. And it also definitely it is contributed heavily to the Indian economy. Privy purse itself. You know what was the privy purse given to the princes of Travancore? It works to around 2.3 crores every month with all their expenses, likely to all others also. What was their contribution is, if I look at the contribution of Travancore, definitely their contribution is there. They are the only people who developed tea agriculture in the country. They are the only people who developed public-private sector investment in the country. They are the only people who established a public health department in the country.